welcome on into another edition of the WyoNation Roundup. Greetings to you wherever you may be. I am your host, Chad Smith, joined this evening by Mr. Brian Stevens. I'm down on the bottom, Mr. Brad Reed.
Howdy.
And, there's nothing to talk about, so I don't even know why we're here, right? There's absolutely nothing to talk about.
Nothing's gone on in the last week.
With the university, with the athletic department, so... we'll try to make through with what we have to work with, right?
Did you guys hear we flew around the moon this week?
That's true. We did that too.
Dude, that's so freaking rad. This is totally off the topic, but I went to the Kennedy Space Center. A couple months ago in January. If you ever have the chance to go there, it is the coolest damn thing you will ever see. At one point, there's a little video that plays about how they made the space shuttles, and then the doors open, and there is an actual space shuttle hanging there that you can go check out. It flew 33 missions in space, and it's an exhibit at a museum now. It's rad as hell.
Well, that is cool. All right. And for
I decided I'm not a tight spaces person, so I don't know if I would have survived in that capsule for 10 days with 3 other people.
True, and they wouldn't survive with you. Is the most important thing.
No, we'd have the Hunger Games before we got back.
Yes.
I mean, you barely survive with us, and you see us an hour a week.
Virtually.
I know. So, we'll start with the biggest news that's happened the past couple of weeks, and it's something that I think only this show has really hammered on for the past probably a year now, and that is Wyoming, the university side, the academic side, looking for a brand new president. And boys and girls, they have hired one. He will be joining the university this summer. And we'll pop it up here. It is no one other than Brigadier General Shane Reeves, who will come to Wyoming after being the academic dean over at West Point. He himself is a graduate of West Point, and he is a native of, was it Rock Springs? Rollins?
Yeah, Rock Springs.
Okay, so he graduated high school in Rock Springs and went straight to West Point and has been in the Army for 30 years. He's going to retire this summer, and he will be the new president. And he has a lot of things on his plate, does he not?
Yeah, so, there have been a lot of black marks with Seidel's tenure there, not the least of which is all the stuff that went down with engineering and computer science that was handled pretty badly, which is likely what led to his resignation, if that's what you want to call it.
Sure.
Seidel was never very interested in sports either, and it seems that Reeves is a big proponent of athletics being the front door to the university. Mm-hmm. So from a sports perspective, which is what we're mostly concerned with, I think it's going to be a great hire.
I think it's a great hire just based on qualifications alone. There was probably, you could figure there's probably 100 applicants for this job or something like that. But
what they claim,
to pull an academic advisor from West Point, which is typically ranked top 10, 15 nationally in just academic rankings, I think the university is going to see a big boost there, just in academic profile. So I think that'll be a net positive. And, like Brian just alluded to, the athletic department should also see a boost. If you just look at what Army football has done for that university over the last 10 years, it's really brought Army back to people talking about the Black Knights, positively. And, when it comes to football, their basketball is, whatever. It's academy basketball, so not very good. But the football team has really put them back in the national spotlight. And if he's been paying attention and notices that, then that can only be a net positive for Wyoming. So I like that hire.
And Army Navy has been the major football game for 50 years now. Like, and I know that has a lot to do with it being the service academies and it being a standalone.
It has its own damn day.
It does. But the fact of the matter is, this is a guy that knows how it got there. And that's a good thing for the university. That's good knowledge to have. We're never going to have a border war weekend like that by any means. But at least we're going to know that, this guy knows what it takes to get your football program on the map.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I guess we'll say the other finalist for this job was the sitting agriculture dean. And I think we all thought when the final two came out, right, we all said, yeah, they're going to go internal. So I'm very glad to see that they went external. He's a guy with Wyoming ties, which they sold to the Board of Trustees, which they sold to the state legislature. And I think he's going to come in and, bring in some discipline, right? He's going to be a military type of guy. He's not going to come in and make changes right away. He's going to sit, observe, and figure out what needs to change. And he's got a lot on the academic side in terms of staff and school harmony. But like you said, Brian, if you you search his name and type in athletics, you're going to see all kinds of videos where he's urging people to get out to football games, to basketball games. And when's the last time you heard the university president say anything about athletics at Wyoming? It's been a long time. So
did we have a university president that said anything about athletics? Probably.
I mean,
not.
Phil Dubois had plenty to say about it when he changed the color scheme and the mascot. I think that was the last we ever heard of a president that cared.
That should have been the death penalty, by the way.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Sure.
That was when the three of us were in school too, and we all vividly remember just how bad it was.
Lived during those days, unfortunately.
The fun mascot that walked through the student section that first game. Oh boy, that was bad day, sad day.
5 people clapped, and we never saw it again.
Good. I'll say this though, Chad. Going back to your point of he's going to sit and observe, and you and I have done our time in the corporate world, but buddies, if you haven't learned what a reorg is, you better get ready.
Well, maybe. As I said, he's a military guy. He's going to sit. He's going to observe. And then he's going to make his changes. So he's not going to do anything brash. I don't think you'll see that on both sides of the house, right? Academically and athletically. So we'll see. So we wish him luck. He's a Wyoming guy coming back. Again, he's ran West Point, so he's going more than qualified to run the University of Wyoming. And right, he knows, as Brian said, that the athletics is the front door to the university. And the university, we were shocked to know when we were digging into the numbers, a couple months ago, was that enrollment is way down compared to when we were at school. And that's a lot of money, right? If you're not getting seats in the classroom, it's a lot of money that's costing the state. And this is coming off of, right, you would think after a long stretch of successful football with Craig Bowl at the helm, that you wouldn't see such a drastic cut in enrollment. And so I think that's going to be one of his major problems. And one of the first things I bet he addresses is how do you get people back to going to the University of Wyoming?
Well, I think one of the first things he's going to have to address is the legislative priorities and how they line up with the university mission.
Sure. Yeah, that too. And he's addressed that.
That's going to be his biggest issue. And then, you talk about young people not wanting to come to a university, and when you have a legislature that's openly aggressive towards the university, that doesn't help. It's never going to help.
No. And with that too, is there going to be maybe a small refocus on how the university approaches academics? Like, Wyoming's already a fairly straightforward STEM university. Is there going to be a push to, maybe incorporate more healthcare, more STEM, more, energy degrees? It'll be interesting to see if he's got any ideas as far as, reshaping some of the academic priorities at the university to fit the modern work economy.
Sure. Yeah. Great point. So, yeah. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see when he gets into the seat. And then I'm sure, right, we'll hear a lot once he takes over. He'll give a speech. I'm sure he's a military man. They love their PowerPoints. We're going to see a lot of PowerPoints. And we'll just see what, like Brad said, what is his vision for the future. So there we go. So one big thing off the plate for the university, and we'll see how it shapes, again, both the academic and the athletic side for years to come. He's signed I do believe it's a 6-year deal for this job, making $500K a year. So he's going to be around.
Is he allowed a one-time transfer? Or
maybe we'll have
transfers.
We'll have to check with the NCAA to see what they say about that.
I did see today that the NCAA is floating a 5-year eligibility period and proposing getting rid of red shirts.
Yeah,
which a lot of people have been calling for, and that makes a lot of sense.
And they've called that's been on the back burner for a while now, and they've, for whatever reason, they've tabled it, I think, several times. But I think, as we discussed in our private little group where we organized this little show, when the Trump EO came out, we said, hey, this is basically, he put that out there to get the NCAA to get moving on stuff that they need to figure out themselves. And sure enough, looks like it's working.
Yeah, and the redshirting now is just completely pointless anyway. There's just literally no reason for it. I mean, if you're a head coach and you're redshirting guys, short of like just a pure development talent standpoint, you're a dumbass.
Which we'll get to.
Yep.
In a Wyoming related thing here soon. So there is that.
You know, going to that EO that the president put out for the first time in like 15 years, there was an executive order that came out that basically no one has a problem with. Like you look at it and you're like, yeah, all of this is great. Let's do that. Now, will it hold up in court? So far it hasn't, but good first step.
To get people moving who should be making these decisions, right? Because the NCAA has been, let's see, what's the word? Paralyzed on their decisions, afraid of getting sued.
Paralyzed by their own incompetence. That's the biggest problem.
Yes, that too. So that's something that we'll break down more in the summer. That's a never-ending topic. So again, what is it? 10 days ago, UW president gets announced. We talked about this. I think last time we had the show that Wyoming was about to get a jersey sponsor matched up. And sure enough, bam, that got dropped this week. So before we talk about it, I don't know if you guys seen this. I just stumbled upon this. This is from, let me make this little so we can see it all here. This is directly from Tallgrass, who's the new Wyoming sponsor. Let me play this video. They put together a nice little video about this partnership. And there we go. So for you listening on to the podcast, that was a video. Maybe we'll try to post a link to this in the show notes there. But we'll just get to the facts of this stuff, and I'll let you guys give your opinions on what this means. But yes, Tallgrass, an energy company based out of Cheyenne, signed a 5-year, $4.5 million deal to have a patch on the football uniforms, the men's basketball uniforms, and the women's basketball uniforms. So that comes in at $900,000 a year. Most of that money will be used in rev share over time to go back to the student athletes. And again, this is the first year that this has been allowed. In the Mountain West so far, Wyoming is the second school to announce a jersey patch deal. UNLV has one for $2.2 million over 5 years. With I think a biotech company.
That's $2.2 million per year. Over 5
years. Sorry.
Yeah,
that's what I meant. I didn't know the math off the top of my head what it was for 5 years.
11 million,
12 million.
Years.
Yeah.
We got you, friend.
Yeah. So about a little less than half of what UNLV is getting per year. But I think overall,
about a quarter.
2.2. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of
500 times 4. 500,000 times 4 is 2 million.
Sure, but it's 900,000, not 5. Right?
No, for Wyoming, it's 500,000 per year.
Okay,
it's a 5-year contract for 4.5 million.
Listen, guys, we're podcasters. We're not math guys. All right.
I am a math guy.
That's true.
This is embarrassing for you then.
Yeah. So 500,000, not 9. Yeah. So we'll see how that shakes out right over time. Every school here is going to be rolling out their deals soon.
You know, I saw a lot of people complaining about this deal compared to the UNLV deal. And the fact of the matter is, this is Wyoming. This is not Las Vegas. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's
full stop. More money flows through Vegas in a week than flows through Wyoming in a year. Like, it's freaking crazy out there. The fact that they were able to get this investment is great for UNLV. The fact that Wyoming was able to get this investment from Tallgrass is great for Wyoming. That's another $500,000 a year towards revenue sharing that we didn't have, that we have now. Rather than bitching about it, let's be grateful we have it, because we can keep players like, you know, Nosmeyer and Gavin Gores and Uriah Rojas and Caden Bennett. Like, we'll get into the basketball stuff later, but we're not keeping those guys if we're not making a competitive offer to them. We're not keeping the guys on the football team like Tote Harris and Dion DeBlanc and Kaylin Wash and them.
I think it's wild that people would have the balls enough to complain about this. Like, yeah, it's not UNLV money. Who cares? Like, we're the second Mountain West team to have a jersey patch deal. We're making $4.5 million over the next 5 years. That is less, money that the university is going to be coming to the fan base for. What's the problem here?
Yeah, this is great news all around.
Yeah.
Also, the way that they did these jersey patches is probably the most unobtrusive jersey patch I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, the conference patch is way more noticeable. And I've seen the patches on pro leagues and, the mock-ups for teams like UNLV. They are way more prominent than what Tallgrass is doing. I appreciate that.
Yep. And, I don't love how they look on the football jerseys, but I think they integrate really well into the basketball jerseys. I think that's a pretty natural integration on the football one. I don't know. They could probably figure it out, but it looks a little weird right now, just in their quick little product demo.
Yeah.
I think the jersey manufacturers are probably going to get more wise to this now that it's happening. And when we see a new redesign come out, whenever that happens, they're probably going to have a better design built together to be like, okay, here's where the Makers logo goes. Here's where the conference logo goes. Here's where the sponsor logo goes. Instead of trying to jam it all in.
There's been rumblings going around that the Big Sky Conference is debating on jersey patches, but like for a conference wide sponsorship, instead of like the teams just being able to go out and get their own. Can you imagine how bad of a deal that would be for Mountain West teams just in general? But you'd be getting less money in that kind of deal. So I mean, for Wyoming, this is a terrific deal.
Yeah. Speaking of conference sponsorships, I'd be very interested to see what Old Trapper pays to be the championship sponsor in the Mountain West. We might have to FOIA that one, because I'm very curious to see what that deal looks like as compared to what UNLV's jersey deal or Wyoming's jersey deal looks like.
Yeah, we can dig in that. It might be out there. I don't know. I'm pretty sure conferences are private entities, so I don't know if you can FOIA it or not.
You can ask.
Yeah.
University, they've got it.
So again, that's something that has come out. Going to be a net positive. Again, looks great. I think the first game, like basketball-wise, you can barely tell it. I think football, after you see a game or two on TV, you're not even going to notice it's there. So
It'll be no different than a few years ago when they allowed them to start putting the maker's mark on the chest, be it Adidas or Jordan or Nike. Like, it's just another thing that goes on there. We're not the Premier League. It's not going to say Tallgrass across the chest instead of Wyoming.
Like,
it's fine.
Not yet.
We're not going to be the Sounders, and we're not going to be the Sounders, and people are just going to assume that we're called the Xbox.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Major League Baseball has allowed sleeve patches for a while, or a couple seasons now. You see those. I think NBA. I think next year is starting. They're going to have corporate patches.
Oh, they've had them for years
on the front, and they're pretty obnoxious.
Yeah, they're pretty large.
Just as long as we don't like look like Ian Poulter out on the golf course where you're just like head to toe, just
yeah.
It
won't get to that point. And then remember also, they are also working on another deal. I don't know. We haven't heard how far down they're on that, but field sponsorship is also allowed too. And they're working on that.
So they're working on War Memorial and they're working on the AA. War Memorial is going to remain War Memorial from what we've heard, but it'll be War Memorial State, or just like Mile High was, Invesco at Mile High. It's going to be something similar to that. It's going to be, we'll use Tallgrass as an example. It'll be Tallgrass Field at War Memorial Stadium. The Arena Auditorium, I think they are more open to doing a full naming rights on that, like calling that a Tallgrass Arena, for example.
Yeah, but getting back to the football, I mean, they already have that. It's Jonah Field, so I don't know how they're going to get around that. Unless that's over.
But that's your field name, right? Like, you can still be Old Trapper Stadium or Old Trapper Stadium at War Memorial.
At Old Trapper War Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, I mean that's essentially what Montana's done. Like, they have a field name, from an alumni that kicked in a few $1 million.
Gotcha.
Then it has its actual stadium name.
Okay, so that's how it'll go.
Yeah.
So we'll see, and then that presumably that stadium sponsor will get their logo on the field as well. So, and that's going to bring in probably, I would say, more money than the jerseys, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so
that's Ramos Law paid $100,000 for the one logo during the border war.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a pretty big deal too. That will go into the coffers for the university and for this rev share. So we'll see. Again, that started last season. You could do that, and I don't think maybe only like a handful of SEC schools had deals for that. So it's kind of new for us lowly schools.
Not really. I mean, look at Fort Collins. That's been Canvas Stadium since they built it. They sold the naming rights right out the gate.
Yep. Oh, sure. But I'm talking about on the field logos. Yeah. Is what they allowed last year. So we'll see. It's a brave new world.
It's interesting. I was just doing some side research here into the Old Trapper deal.
There you go.
And that seems to be pretty hidden information.
I would like it. How about Old Trapper Stadium at War Memorial? Sounds pretty good. Kind of
Old Trapper War Memorial Stadium.
There we go. Yeah. Sounds pretty good.
They're not paying us, but Old Trapper is like the best jerky there is. Like, for real.
I've actually never tried it.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay.
I'm not a jerky guy.
But a shot, man. Never tried it. So yeah.
That's how I keep my youthful appearance.
Maybe that's the secret.
That and Just for Men.
Nah, man, the grays on the sides. I just keep the beer short.
That's good stuff. And I just want to go back to the math question we had. It is 5 years, $4.5 million. So that's $900,000 a year, not $500,000. So,
oh my God.
I was right. Because I was freaking out. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I thought that at first too, when it first got announced, I was doing the math in my head and I was like, well, that's not very much, but it is. So $900,000 a year, which is
sending a LinkedIn message to Brian's boss right now.
Pretty good.
I'll give you his email address.
Yeah, they're like, Brian, why are these figures all wrong?
It's public information.
Yeah, it's true. It is. It is.
Your math guy accidentally went to like a Mac school. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's a good thing I'm not a financial examiner.
True. Good point. So yeah, so really good there on the jerseys, and we'll see. I don't know if they're going to do other sports, right? Because you do have soccer, you do have wrestling. I don't know.
Wrestling is probably the next one if they do one. Wrestling is probably our most high-profile sport outside of the main revenue drivers. So I would expect that if we see a sponsorship come through, Branch and company are probably going to be at the forefront of that.
Well, and going back to Berman's town hall that he had a few weeks ago, there is only the 5 sports that are where they share revenue with the athletes, football, men's, women's basketball, wrestling, and women's volleyball.
Yeah.
So it would probably make sense to
be those two.
Figure out a jersey patch deal with women's volleyball.
Yeah, I agree. Good point, Brad. I think that's probably right.
You're welcome.
I'd imagine if you are right, because you bring that in. So we'll see if that gets expanded by Tallgrass or by somebody else. We'll have to see how that shakes down. But great, yeah. So jersey patches, a new president. I mean, my goodness, a lot of stuff going on, and it is April. All right, next up, boys, is a little something called the transfer portal, and basketball is finally open. Brian, I'm going to post your little screen there of your post, your tracker on WyoNation.com. Let me try to get this in a little better view, perhaps.
Yeah, go ahead and refresh that because I updated it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't even see it now, which is kind of, oh, there it is.
Just say Control R, Boomer.
Let's find it right there. And let me make this smaller.
Make it bigger, blow it up.
So we can see. Yeah, how do you want to see it? Yeah, I guess. Do you want to see it all at the same time, or you just want to kind of go in like this?
No, there you go. Just like that.
All right.
There we go. So as we're sitting right now, we are confirmed that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players on the roster that are confirmed they are on the team. Neil Summers' unfinished business video dropped about 2 hours ago. I recently reposted that and threw it in the thread. So if you haven't seen that, it's pretty fun. I don't know whose idea. Yeah, the hound is all over this. I don't know whose idea it was to make those videos for the returning players, but it's great. We see all these hype videos for the transfers coming in. We see all their highlight videos. It's about time that, we started highlighting the returning players like we do the transfers.
Yeah, if you guys watching, out here in the internet world, haven't seen the returning starters videos yet, they are bangers. Sonny's not going to win any awards for his acting, but he's out there and he's giving it a go.
Hey, Nick Reynolds might, man, breaking that clipboard.
Yeah. Yeah,
there's still 2 unknowns. We've seen reported that Garrett Spielman is in the portal, but I have not been able to confirm that. I've reached out to Garrett. We'll post when we figure that out. Talon Taylor, we haven't heard anything about him. Those are the 2 walk-ons. Mm-hmm. So as it sits right now, if we assume that what we've heard on Spielman is correct, we have 6 open roster slots remaining, and that's counting. Like we already took one of those slots up with Mike Mora from Cal State Monterey Bay, who looks to be a very smooth shooter. But yeah, we've got probably the best core returning that we've had returning, since that year Graham Ike got hurt.
Oh, for sure.
It's got to be a load off Sonny's shoulders at this point, just to be like, all right, I don't have to rebuild like 13 of 15 roster spots or, some ridiculous number since he's been back. So
it's still more than I thought we'd see, but right, as we talked before, nothing would surprise me. And I mean, Brian would agree. We've talked about this. Is we brought back the guys we needed to come back. Bar, I think Dennis is the only guy who you would really want to keep, but bar that, they've done a good job in retention.
Yeah, we brought back 4 of the top 6 scorers. Leland Walker graduated, and Demarion Dennis is in the portal. Other than that, we've got Gores, Meyer, Rojas, and Bennett. That rounds out the list of the top 6 scorers. So that is incredible in this current age. So we're going to start seeing players roll in. We've been tied to a point guard from Central Connecticut. We know that offers out there. I've seen reported that we're still interested in Dylan Warlick, who was committed to Wyoming, and then Jeff Linder left, and he went to St. Louis. He's in the portal. There's lots of names that I've seen out there. A lot of 3-and-D guys like Mike Mora, 6'6", 6'7", can shoot the ball well, good defenders. We know we need that. We know we're going to need some kind of post presence because we lost Sadi and Magassa and Harikow, who played quite a bit on the post. So we're going to need another, 6'8" plus guy to come help out Summers, Pohl, and Gores. We are going to need another point. We'll need a couple of guards. We lost quite a few guards. So it'll be interesting to see when they roll in. I won't be surprised to see if we've got a lot of D2 guys coming in again. Like we'll see a few low majors here and there, like Bennett from Quinnipiac. But the Central Connecticut guy is a D2 guy. We'll see, D2 Cal State Monterey Bay, and the recruiting rules were wild on that. Chad and I were talking about it when Sonny was posting, it's a great day to be a Cowboy. We're like, man, is he tampering or is something legit going on? And it turns out that in D2, there's like 3 days a year that you can't contact the players. You can tamper with D2 all you want. So that probably explains why we see a lot of players coming in from D2.
Yeah. And, you're always looking for guys on their way up, not their way down, right? And I think that's a good way to approach recruiting, is looking for guys that, maybe have gone overlooked or whatever, and, moving up.
So it clearly works. I mean, there's 2 guys that unfortunately left that came up from a low major in a D2, and Dennis and Harikow. Like, I don't think anybody saw Adam Harikow being as impactful as he was. We were excited about it, but those were 2 really, really high energy guys at all times. And I think that speaks to they're moving up and they got something to prove. They got a chip on their shoulder and they're going to play their asses off every single game. So that's why we're seeing those guys getting recruited.
Yeah, and as we saw in our past, right? I mean, we got I forget the guy's name. Was it Walters? He was an
NAIA player of the year.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you can ball, you can ball.
That was reaching way down too,
Wild stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah, Keone Saxon this last year came from Missouri Western, and he was a solid player. He didn't stuff the stat sheet, but he did a lot of the little things right. And Sonny loves those players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's where we really need to take the next step, right? It's good to bring those glue guys, because you can't have everybody be a scorer, right? But the bottom line is, I mean, in terms of needs, Brian, how many more scorers do we need? Because it seems at times that's when we did struggle, right? When we just couldn't shoot as a team.
3-and-D is going to be really important. And for those of you guys that aren't basketball junkies, by 3-and-D, I mean a guy like Drake Jeffries. Drake Jeffries was the best defender on the team. He was always in the right spot for a rebound, and the guy lit it up from the 3-point line. Wasn't a great ball handler, wasn't a great passer. He was a stop and pop kind of dude that locked people down on defense. That's a guy we desperately have to have in Laramie. We can't go through these 4 or 5 minute stretches of no scoring when we have this much talent coming back. It cannot happen. Mm-hmm. So we've also got to get a better post presence. Abu Magassa was probably our best post defender this year. He never saw the floor because he had nothing to give us on offense, nothing at all, and he fouled too much. So we got to have a guy in there that's able to absorb some contact and play some keep away with the rebounds. We were a really good rebounding team this year, despite being small. It would have been a hell of a lot easier if we had, a bulky 6'10" guy in there. Gores did well, But if you had a guy that was 260 in that height, we'd have done a lot better.
You don't get bullied in that spot.
Yeah, and I think Neil Summers can fill that role, but Neil Summers is going to be a freshman. It'd be really handy to have some upperclassmen that can help out with that.
In which they will, right? Because we have the open spots. So it will be interesting to see the balance. I'm sure he's going to bring in, some hustle guys who may not score, but, they're going to set the picks. They're going to hustle. They're going to be good teammates. And that's good because it's all about, as we've seen, right? If anything taught us about the Linder era, it was culture matters.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't think the culture is a huge problem with this team.
No, it's been fixed. But the idea is, right?
Sonny talked about that all year long, how he had zero worries about these guys doing dumb stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's just about playing basketball the right way too, right? And working and not thinking that, I'm better than anybody else on this team and I should be playing more and I should be taking the shots because that's what was happening when we had those Cali guys. And they thought they were doing us a favor by being here and thought that just because they showed up, they should be handed, starting minutes.
Did them a favor and showed them the door.
Yeah. So really interesting. We'll see. So the rules are, I think, is it Friday or Saturday campus visits can start, Brian?
I believe that's Friday is when.
So right now it's Zoom calls only. I'm seeing guys all over already committing, and I'm like, that's pretty brave to be committing to a school sight unseen. I don't think Wyoming will do that. I think they'll get everybody in here for a visit. But again, I don't know, like JUCO and D2 guys that have different rules. So maybe we might hit one of those guys in this dead period.
And as far as the visits go, I mean, Wyoming's facilities will sell a lot of people. Like the locker rooms are impressive, the rack's impressive, the arena's impressive, the football stadium's impressive. Like we have done a ton of upgrading, and those facilities are as good as you're going to find anywhere in the country. So getting guys on campus is a big key.
Yeah, and
if you saw the latest rankings that are out there, Laramie is the number 4 college town to live in now. So
what rankings? Who put that out? I did not see that.
Oh boy, I got to go find it again. I saw it yesterday.
Yeah, Cody had an article up about it.
Okay, yeah, that's where I read it first. And I was trying to.
I had a question for you, Brian. I've never thought of this. In terms of weightlifting, does the basketball team also use the performance center?
Oh yeah,
they lift there. You just never really see them, pictures of them lifting like football. So that's why I ask.
Well, they're not putting in nearly as much weight as football.
Sure, exactly.
You're not going to see Neil Summers in there deadlifting 600 pounds like you will see an offensive line.
That'd be cool, though, if we saw that.
That would be cool.
Watch this.
So it was the website Rent Cafe has placed Laramie number 4 on its best college towns list. That's up from number 16 last year.
All right. Well, there we go.
And that is courtesy of the University of Wyoming and 7220 Sports on their article.
Very good. Yeah, I missed that. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff out there these days. So hard to catch up on it all. So there's the basketball. I guess any other final words, things to look for in these next couple of days, Brian?
We're going to see commits start hitting over the weekends. Like I will be shocked if we don't have at least one in by the time work starts on Monday.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
This is going to move fast. Additionally, Jeff Goodman put out a couple hours ago, he put out a summary of the portal. So this season, there were roughly 5,000 players across college basketball. About 1,300 to 1,500 of them ran out of eligibility. So there are some guys like Al Green from UTEP who are in the portal who's, it's like Jordan Nesbitt going in last year. You're not going to get another year. Good luck, but it's not happening. There are about 100 walk-ons. So with all that in mind, there are 1,850 D1 players in the portal. That is 49% of Division I basketball players.
Wow. And that's the larger issue is I know you like college basketball quite a bit, Brian, but I don't know, right? It's not sustainable. You can't have half the players going into the portal every year.
I mean, you can't do it with basketball. You can't do it with football, the major sport. You just can't. Like,
well, in football,
nobody wants to go watch it. Nobody wants to go watch a new team every year.
Yeah,
makes it hard.
Yeah, I mean, you look at college football. I think like at one point this winter, like a third of all college football players were in the portal.
Yeah,
it's
I think it was like 40% maybe, but it was up there.
It's like, what are we doing? Like,
yeah.
You don't build a fan base that way. I'll put it like that.
But we'll
if
see.
you want
we'll
people
see
to donate to your NILs, build your fan base. Not, rebuilding your team every year. Then you're just like the Colorado Rockies. You just rebuild your team every year and hope what sticks.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see, right, what legislation gets out there, how the NCAA handles this, to find something that, is fair to people, but also reasonable. Because, like you said, I think what is going to hit eventually at most schools is the donors are going to say, what am I buying? I'm paying for this kid to show up for a year, and then he decides that he's going to leave because there's a better offer the next year. I mean, it's just not sustainable, and it's not good for the universities. It's not good for the players because, again, right, we all joke about the student athlete thing, but a lot of these guys, you're not going to be pro, and you're going to need a degree. And that's what is the dirty secret is most of these guys, they're not graduating.
Say John Calipari was on a Final Four show and he was talking about this, and he went off on a really good rant about it because he's like, you're getting these guys that you're paying them $500,000 a year in college, and that's going to be it for them. Like, they're not going to play pro overseas. They're not going to go to the G League. Like, they are a roster filler that you needed on your team because they're like a 3-and-D guy, but they're not talented enough to go play at the next level. And they're going to get into the workforce, and they're going to get a job offer in whatever they got their degree in. And they're going to say, $50,000 a year. That's it. Like, do I get a car? Who's going to pay my rent? Like, we are not setting these guys up for success at this point. It's really bad.
That's crazy if John Calipari is making this point. Mm-hmm. He's one of the sane people in the room.
He's like, I've taken advantage of the situation. He's like, I've used it to my advantage, but we're not doing him any favors.
Yeah. Wow.
He's got his own mortgage to pay, all right.
Right.
If John Calipari has a mortgage, he is doing something terribly wrong.
Yeah.
He's probably got a university-funded house.
I mean, he's gotten bought out so many times. He's well beyond that point.
Even if he doesn't have a university-funded house, that guy's got enough money to buy whatever the hell he wants.
But he lives in Fayetteville, Arkansas, so he ain't paying a whole lot for it.
Dude, he lives on the biggest house in the state, and he paid 5 nickels for it.
Well, but that's the same town as the Walmart family, so probably not.
Yeah. True. Oh, let's see. We have a chat, I think. Here we go. Clint's in the house. Sorry, Clint. You just hit it. Let's see, what does he say? Something about the Rockies? I see the Rockies, the leadership should be embarrassed after being compared to the Rockies. Oh, geez. That's funny.
I mean, great to see the state of affairs over the last few years.
Listen, Clint.
I wasn't wrong.
The Rockies did sweep the Astros today, and that's all that matters for like the next 3 days.
So while we're still on basketball, Nevada is starting to steal Wyoming's thunder. Von Weems is coming back to Nevada, and the video that he posted is tagged "unfinished business."
Oh, that's copyright infringement.
So original.
Man,
I'm sure Sonny's here for it. He don't care.
Yeah.
Not like every college sports locker room doesn't have unfinished business painted across it somewhere.
Imitation's the best form of flattery, right? All right, so last to wrap up the show here, we'll talk a little spring football. Wyoming has completed 7 of their allowed 15 practices. And I guess the number one thing that we can, knock on wood and be happy about is injury-wise. We haven't heard of any type of long-term or even short-term injuries, which is great. So that's the first thing, right, is to get better.
We're not losing all our star defensive tackles to ruptured Achilles tendons at this point.
Yeah, not yet. Yep. And those guys are coming back, and it sounds like they're doing well.
Knock on wood.
They're slow playing them. He did talk about that, I think, 2 press conferences ago. He talked about
he was singing the praises of Dante Drake being a monster. So we're looking forward to that.
Good to see. Still, Sauvel, he gives you an entertaining press conference. it's kind of interesting. I say, hey, the university, whoever runs WyoVision, they need to know that you can update the thumbnails, because the thumbnail is always like Savell with some weird face. That doesn't exactly like one of those, Brian. So they don't do him any favors. So let's get a nice picture of him. Let's not get him making some weird face.
There's some staffer behind the scenes that has been wronged by Jay Savell, and that's his punishment.
Maybe. No, I guarantee what's happening.
Yeah, because every time you see Sonny's thumbnail, he's got a big smile on his face.
Oh, does he? Really?
He's yucking it up. Oh, yeah.
Maybe. Well, I think obviously football-wise, they're just going with the whatever, gets up there. It selects the frame automatically, the algorithm, and they're not changing off of that. So that's my advice.
But what if we do our Brian Windhorse fingers and be like, but maybe there's something else going on?
Other things that he talked about, I guess 2 press conferences ago, and I'm doing this off of memory, but he was talking about the cornerback position, which is very interesting. And what is the name of the cornerback who's been here a while but hasn't played much?
That would be Ian Bell.
Yes. And he talked about Ian Bell specifically, and I've never heard a coach really go after a player like this publicly, and I'm sure it was for motivation. But he was like, hey, Ian's a very talented corner, but the problem is, and I'm paraphrasing, he gets torched in practice like every 3 passes. And he's like, you can't be giving up 60, 70, 80-yard touchdown passes in my defense. You're not going to play doing that. He's like, sure, you can make a couple plays on the ball, but if you're giving up 70-yard bombs, you can't play in my system, is basically what he said.
He was being mentored by Tyreek Davis, so.
Yeah. But otherwise, he says he's happy with the quarterback position, says they're real talented. They just don't have a lot of experience. So we'll see how that room kind of shakes out.
It seems like the competition between, Huntley, is that the new guy's name? The William and Mary transfer?
The quarterback?
Yeah.
Hughes, isn't it?
Hughes, yep. Thank you. Tyler Hughes. It sounds like between Hughes and Droob, the gap is not as wide as you would think. It sounds like Droob's doing pretty well. I still fully expect it to be Hughes, but it sounds like Droob is going to be ready to take the reins. Let's see in the 27 season.
Yeah. Well, and then Savell did mention yesterday that the guy's a film junkie. Says he's always watching the practice film, breaking things down. It sounds like it's going pretty well, right? Because he knows the system coming from William and Mary. So he has a big leg up there. But Savell said that in their testing, that Hughes is like one of the fastest players we've had on the team since he's been here. So if he's faster than Peasley, right? And Peasley wasn't fast, but he was
fast enough.
Fast enough to get a lot of yards. So if you're telling me that he's faster than Peasley, and if he can run, right, find those channels, I mean, good night.
But is he going to be Austin Conway fast?
That guy can scoot, man.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe he might be just as fast.
I'm really excited to see how this offense shakes out. We've heard year after year after year, we're going to use the tight ends. We're going to use the tight ends, but it seems like that's actually going to happen this year.
They're saying it again, but again, believing is seeing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to believe it.
We know that the run game needs to get better. You don't bring Todd Harris back and only give him 500 yards. Like, that guy needs the rock big time. We got to get Dion DeBlanc involved in the passing game. Tyson Dean, it sounds like he might be turning into a two-way player. Sounds like he's doing really well on defense. We took a few snaps on offense for us last year. So we'll see how it goes. But
that's interesting. They talked about him 2 weeks ago on the defensive side quite a bit. And then this last week, they talked about him playing at wide receiver and taking some snaps at running back. So, again, I don't know how that's going to look. We'll see if he's got the talent to do that. But they must be pretty impressed with him if they're even giving him a look in spring ball to do that.
We're coming after kid from Colorado, Hunter's Heisman Trophy. We're coming after it.
Yes, that's right.
Travis
players
Hunter's
in the
Heisman
Rocky
Trophy.
Mountain time zone only, right?
Listen, we got a guy that can play both sides of the ball too.
Other things that they mentioned, really not a whole lot of talk about the offense. And again, remember these questions that Salvel asked, they're from the beat writers, and they're fishing for stories for whatever they're doing, and they do great work, right? But I'm surprised we haven't been dead out like, hey, how is the offense going? Now, Salvel did talk that he says he's 200% happy with the new OC and what he's doing. So
I also think he's trying to keep the offense a little close to the vest, especially because we're starting the season against CSU. They're 50 miles down the road. He doesn't want to give away too many secrets because he knows how important that game is. And if we don't absolutely destroy the sheep like we did last year, it's not good enough. Like we cannot lose that game, especially with
that's going to be
this Pac Mountain West split. There, you have to win that game.
Be really interesting, right? And it is a first game, so it's a very tricky.
People forget we did shut the sheep out last year.
We did, yeah,
28-0.
We'll see, but remember they brought in a lot of new players.
They do that every year.
Yeah, but
they brought in a new coach this time too. Again,
yeah, but this guy can actually coach, so that's where we may have a problem, right? If you're going to compare Salvel to Jim Mora, trust me, I would take Jim Mora in a freaking heartbeat.
Yeah, that was a good hire by the sheep. I hate to give him credit, but that was a good hire.
He's a very good coach.
But
he's winning at Connecticut, of all places. I mean, good Lord. That place is hopeless. It's a basketball school.
They had that Dan Orlovsky money.
That's true. Yeah, it's very lucrative. 2 weeks in a row, Salvel's talked about the safety position and how deep it is. And it sounds like we've got 6 guys who could play at that position, which is, what was it, 2 seasons ago where we barely had one guy who could play safety. So they've really built up the depth there. And he's talking a lot about those guys. So I think, and as we know, right, watching that system, I think safety really is the key to the defense. I think it's more important than linebacker because we've played it with, average and so-so linebacker play. But those safeties, there's a lot of pressure on them in this system, and they got to be able to make the right reads, right, and make sure that first step is in the right direction because when we were having our problems, we just had guys who were just swimming. So that's good to hear too.
We've heard a lot of good things about every position. The edge rushers, it seems like will probably take a little bit of a step back here this year, but not bad. D tackles, we're going to have a big upgrade, even with Florentine leaving, having Dante and Caleb back in the middle there is going to be huge. We're hearing that the linebackers are good. We expect, we saw some information come out on Gary Rutherford again today. He got hurt in fall camp last year, which is why he didn't see much. But Braden Johnson was in there and played out of his mind. He was a great transfer. So we'll see if Rutherford's ready. We'll see if Dash Bauman's ready. Enoch Sibamana. No, not him.
Gone.
There was another linebacker that moved to safety that's been getting a lot of praise too. His name is slipping my mind right now.
Yeah. He did talk yesterday about the offensive line, and he was mentioned, is it Chandler Dunaway? I think he's the guy who came from East Texas A&M, or West Texas A&M, directional Texas A&M, and said, hey, this guy, they said, they had no idea, this dude is, he's gotten in the weight room because I guess, right, they don't have the facilities we do. But I guess since this guy's gotten campus, he's been living in the damn weight room, and they say this guy is a monster physically. And they think that he'll improve just as much as he already has with the opportunity to lift more throughout the summer. And so I don't know if he's going to play guard or tackle. They didn't mention. But he's in the mix at offensive line to come in and be an impact player. So, a lot of good stuff to be hearing about. But again, right, we hear this every year. And so now it's time, right? We got to see some of this stuff in action.
What is it?
Yeah.
Spring
talk is cheap.
Confidence springs eternal, something like that. I don't know. It is spring after all.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy and excited.
Hope springs eternal.
Hope springs eternal. That's what we got. Yeah.
There we go.
So we've also heard that Majizak, the Nebraska transfer, is holding it down at center. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Machevich, I do believe.
Machevich, is that how you say it? I haven't looked at the media guide. I'm so sorry for butchering that. If you listen,
all right, yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough
like
one.
Krzyzewski. If you looked at Krzyzewski and you'd never heard it before, you'd be like, I don't know how to say that.
Oh yeah, we talked about that, I think, last show, that he's number one right now at center, but they got a bunch of guys that are, taking snaps there. And then
Elvin,
the wide
Elvin
receiver
Ampopo
position
is who I'm talking about, that moved from linebacker to safety, and we've heard good things about him.
Who again? Sorry.
Elvin Ampopo. He's
from
from
okay,
Aurora.
Yeah. He did mention him by name yesterday.
Yep.
Am I crazy? Did you guys? Okay, cool. I just noticed this, but like Rob Rathbun's son's on the roster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't notice that till just now. That's awesome.
Yeah, he was on there last year. Spencer.
Year. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rob's a good follow on Twitter.
Yep, friend of the program.
I do believe he's a high school football coach, or he was. He may not be anymore.
I think his Twitter handle has coach in it. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure he's still coaching high school ball. And I've chatted with him, right through messages on there a few times. He'd be a good guy to get on the show this summer, I think.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Heck of a player for Wyoming, man.
Yep.
So, interesting stuff there. And then I guess wide receiver wise, they were talking about PJ Jackson. Is that his name?
Yep.
That he's the guy.
Washington. They've got a lot of stuff going with Kalen Washington too. Apparently, he was suspended and had some maturing to do last year. And it sounds like he's got all the talent in the world. So
and I can't remember. They were talking about him, but I wasn't sure who. Is he another one of these tiny guys, or does he have some size? Because it seems like we have a lot of slot guys, but we don't have really any outside wide receivers.
Yeah, Bryson Brantley, they're really counting on to step up as an outside receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for Washington.
And Holman's got the size to be outside. He did well last year for coming in.
Yeah.
But I don't
Kalen Washington, he's 6'1". He's got decent size to be an outside receiver.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, and we'll see. And they were talking about the tight ends. It's going to help to have, right? We all obviously know Wilson's a good player. He could block and catch. And they were talking about, what's the other guy's name? Friend? I think it's Friend. That he's really coming on too. The guy from Wisconsin. Is it Friend? Brian's looking at it.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's it.
Frent. Yeah, Kyle Frent.
Frent's not Friend. Frent. Yep. So we'll see. And then of
Woodbury,
course,
Minnesota. And Landon Pace is in there too. He was a big pickup when we got him.
We haven't heard him by name yet.
He redshirted last year, but he's got good size. I mean, he ain't as big as his dad, but 6'3", 247 ain't nothing to laugh at.
Big tight end, yeah. So So again, there's 7 practices in. They are going to scrimmage this Saturday. And then they did announce today, for those of you around, that they are having a football youth activity. So you can come to the practice. And I think it's going to be like an hour long. They're going to put kids through drills. So I forget the ages. Do you have that handy, Brad?
Yeah, I've got it.
Which is cool. I think they did it last year, right? And it's good.
It's a youth clinic. So
youth clinic. There we go.
11:30 a.m. check in for the youth clinic. Then noon the youth clinic starts. So the Cowboy players will run drills with the youths starting at noon. So.
And does it give ages? I forget. I thought it did.
6 to 12.
6 to 12. There we go. So if you're in Laramie or Cheyenne, that's a great opportunity. It's pretty cool.
Yep, 45-minute clinic for the kiddos.
Or Wheatland or Rollins. I mean, Laramie's not that far from a lot of places.
Yeah.
What's our weather forecast for Laradice on Saturday? Good.
Supposed to be nice.
Good reason to get the fam to Laramie and go catch a little bit of a spring practice. Get the kids out there running with the players.
Yeah, really cool. Right, and that's all. It's all about that, because when I was a kid, I was a little older than that when I moved to Wyoming, but they had the kids club or whatever type of thing that you could join.
Yeah.
So it's good that they have stuff like that back, because that's how you build fans, right? I mean, those kids will remember that. If you hold this every year, which they've had done over Savell, right? That builds fans, and you never know. Some of these kids may turn out to be Division I football players. And they'll be like, you know, I used to run around that field when I was 7, and now I want to be a Poke. So it's good outreach. And I'm sure someday you will hear somebody.
You can't tell me that a Spencer Rathbun hadn't been thinking about that since he was a kid, and his dad was bringing him to games.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. We've been getting one football press conference a week, but then if you follow all the great work that like Cody and Alex do, they're having media scrums after each practice, and you can kind of hear what's going on. But we're only getting official press conferences on Mondays. So, but good that university is getting those posted up, and you can learn quite a bit on what's going on. And so, so again, the most important thing so far is no known injuries of any importance. So,
yeah, hopefully that holds true.
Right, because at Wyoming, we don't have the depth to deal with such things. So, all right, boys, anything else before we wrap?
No, just for the folks listening listening to the podcast, transfer portal gets pretty busy. Make sure you follow along on the socials. I'm at YOBS. Chad's at WyoNation blog. Brad's at WyoNation.com. Follow those along on X. That's probably the fastest way to find information. We also post most everything that we share on social media on the board if it is important enough to share. So WyoNation.com. Make sure you hop on the forums and check out what we're doing there. We're trying to keep you guys up to date as best as we can.
That is always. Go find us on Spotify, X, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon Music, all your favorite podcast players.
Say, copy the link. You can pop it into Bob's Podcast Player on your iPhone if you want to. Like, if you don't want to use Apple, like there's a million different platforms out there, and you can probably get us on any of them.
Very true.
Whether you want us or not.
And hopefully you do. So, all right. Well, there we go. Lots to talked about. We talked about the new president. We talked about the jersey patch. We talked about the transfer portal and spring football. Other than that, there's nothing going on in Laramie.
Yeah, kind of a dead period.
Yeah. So, all right, boys and girls, thank you for listening to us this evening. For Brian Stevens, for Brad Reed, I'm Chad Smith. Go Pokes, and we will check you next week for another edition of WyoNation Roundup. I'm sure we'll be breaking down at least one new Wyoming Cowboy roster member for the men's basketball. So until then, everybody take care and go Pokes.
Go Pokes.